everybody. It's your girl Angie. Welcome back to Kiss My Cheeks TV. I am here with my good friend Charles Warren, and we're here to do Survivor, the latest episode of Survivor. We have a lot of hot points, just our 2 cents that we want to give about the episode. So we're gonna jump right into it. First, I'm gonna apologize for us being late. I've been on a new fitness journey. Like, why wait to January when you could start now? So
Period.
Thursdays are my training nights. So that's why I kind of pushed the reviews back from 6 to 7. And then we were still 10 minutes late, but y'all forgive us. I know. And I'm shouting out my trainer. This is his shirt, Hardcore Fitness. So, and I'm tired. But let's get into it, Charles. Again, I didn't take any notes because I don't feel like notes really needed to be taken. Let's get to question number 1. In general, last week, Ricard leaded the charge to get rid of Shan. Shan ultimately went home. The Black people fell on board outside of Liana. That's Deshawn and Danny. After we see the overall view of last night's episode, did they make the right choice? Do you think they made the right choice of getting rid of Shan at 8?
So we're giving Ricard credit for the Shan because wasn't Danny and Deshaun talking about Shan before Ricard?
I don't want to go into last week too much because if we put it all on the table, Deshaun has always wanted to get rid of Shan. He's never really wanted to work with Shan. Let's make that very clear. So it wasn't like they twisted his arm last week, but I believe they were talking about it first, but they wanted Ricard out. Then Liana blew up the Ricard vote out. And then Ricard said, well, hey, Shan got too many allies. Let's get Shan out. So ultimately, I'm going to give Ricard for the final Shan vote. Ricard was the leader in gathering the people to get Shan out last week. That's my opinion.
Was it the right decision? I do not think so.
I think it was too soon.
I think it was too soon because getting rid of Shan left Ricard wide open. Like, he got rid of the biggest target in front of him. So now it's just open season for him. Like, everybody was looking like this is the chance to get Ricard out. And the fact, I don't want to talk about the immunity challenge, but he was almost the one. It
could have been anybody, really. Hey, Eric, I see you out there in the chat. I'm going to give my 2 cents that we're going to deep dive into the episode a little bit. I also agree the Shan vote was 1 week too soon. I feel like Ricard left himself out there, even though he think he in this little 4-person alliance. I believe they gave Xander extra shelter that he should not have. And Danny and Deshaun left themselves out there on an island. I feel like they should have kept Shan 1 more week, and last week was the week to blindside Xander. But in hindsight is 2020, and
I agree.
I personally think we got a Xander win, and I'm just gonna watch to see it because I'm
shocked how he's just like faded back into the background because
he's just chilling.
Everybody was talking about him and his idol, and now nobody's even thinking of Xander.
Nobody's thinking about it. He's definitely going to make it to the final 4.
Thinking about the 4 Black people that were supposed to be working together, at 8, it was them 4, and then it was 4 non-Black people. Now that they've gotten rid of one of the Black people, these non-Black people are going to target practice them. They're gone one by one. Deshaun gonna be next, and then
I don't think so.
They might keep Danny. Because they might not see him as a threat. But I do see they already got rid of Shan and Liana back to back, so now it's just them 2, and then those 4 people are not voting each other out.
I don't think that's the case. I think, and let's jump into what we saw. The first thing we see is Xander gets a lot of confessionals, and he's so excited because now he finally has people that want to work with him, and he's in a 4-person alliance. Ricard, Xander, Erica, and Heather created a 4-person alliance, which I don't think will even last into next week. But that's what the theme of this episode is. Those 4 are working together this episode. Liana is pissed. She wants revenge, but I don't see what revenge she was seeking to get. Like, what was she going to do?
Well, she really wanted to somehow. She didn't do the legwork or the strategizing to do anything. Like, she wanted to avenge Shan by getting Deshaun out. Maybe after the do or die, she was just hoping that he was going to lose. So then he would go home. But you still should have been
But she
garnering
still
the
voted with
votes.
him at the end of the day. I mean, I guess she had to vote with them because she was the vote. I don't know. I think last week screwed everybody. And then and we'll get to I don't want to ruin the end of the episode, but then for tribal council to be the tribal council that it was, I was just rolling my eyes. But I don't want to get there because we're going to save that hot topic for the end. Let's get to the immunity challenge, because I honestly felt like Danny and Deshaun thought by working with Ricard that Ricard was going to be a number for them. But Ricard said, I'm with them. So they played themselves.
Right, they got rid of their link. The link that connected the two groups was Shan. Shan is the thing that connected Ricard to Danny and Deshaun. You got rid of that bridge, which left Ricard out there to now he think he the king of the jungle. So he made whatever alliance he wanted.
Ricard think he's the king, but I think Ricard knows he's target number 1. Xander now thinks he's the king of the jungle because Xander is sitting up like, oh, Ricard is still a shield for me, and I still got an idol. So Xander's going to top 4. He's going to the final 4, and
I agree. I think Xander might win the season, to be honest, at this point.
I think he might win the season unless they can chop him at 4, like if he doesn't win immunity at the final 4. But if he goes to the final 4 with, say, Heather, Erica, Danny, or Deshaun, he's going to win that immunity. So, but let's get into the immunity challenge. It's another good one where you add pieces to a block and balance a ball. They held out a lot longer than they did last week. But the twist this week was, and I already know how you feel about the twist, so we're about to talk about it. Do or die. If you are the first person to drop your ball in the immunity challenge, you have to pick a box. That's what we learned do or die was. But if you choose to sit out, you're safe from the do or die, but you still up to be voted out at tribal council. If it's too many rules, but if the person that does or dies lives,
they're safe.
They're safe.
That's the part I don't like. I don't like the fact that you're the first loser, and if you do this lucky pick, you're immune to being voted out. You should still be able to be voted out. If he picked the correct one, he should have kept his life in the game, yes, but he should not be, oh, now you have an immunity necklace to go to next week. No, that was whack. It should have been like you're back in the crowd.
Because if anything, if you felt vulnerable, you could have been like, well, let me at least try to do or die. Because if I at least I'll be safe if I pick right.
That's why I don't like it. I thought he should be able to go back into the crowd and the voting commence. Like, he can still get votes, he can still vote, whatever.
I agree. And I because I was watching, I was texting, I was like, this twist is crazy. And I was just so into the twist because I thought it was going to be some kind of action. Like, I thought it was going to be maybe you got to solve a puzzle in 30 seconds. You got to get this complete. Like, I thought it was something Deshaun had to do and to see if he could pass or fail that challenge. I didn't think it was just going to be the luck
It was
of
a
a
deal or
box.
no deal. It was a deal or no
And
deal
the
competition.
way I look at production, the way I look at production, I don't put it past production to be like, pick the first box.
Right, the one that was on top. He picked the one that was on top when it came out.
Hmm. So I don't put it past production telling him which box was right. So that was kind of a womp womp. Like I was excited for the twist, but I didn't know it was just gonna be eeny meeny miny mo.
I
So
do agree with a pressured, like a pressured puzzle. Those for me, I think that'd be great TV, and that's great. Like to see how good people work under pressure. But
or
for
make them
him,
make fire. Say you have 2 minutes to make fire. If
yeah.
you can't make fire in 2 minutes, that you out because fire is your lifeline, right? So you got 2 minutes to get your lifeline. If not, see you later. And I
So
personally, this might be again in the minority. I wanted Deshaun to die. I wanted him to go because Deshaun this whole episode got on my nerve. One, he was upset with why Shan called me a snake and not Ricard a snake. And he was going around talking to everybody crazy, which let me know Deshaun just wants to be heard. He wants to be known as the vocal one. He wants to be seen as a leader. When if Deshaun, after that Shan vote, would have sat back in the tribe and let the pieces fall where they may, he might have flew under the radar and could have pulled
mhm.
off a Ricard blindside.
Yeah, it feels like he's fishing for, I don't want to say TV time, but he's it's like something about it. Like what do you want? Like what do you need? What are you getting out of this about like causing drama?
They
Yeah, I agree.
they say he's paranoid and he messed up his game, but I think Deshaun wants to be seen as the mastermind. He wants the credit for everything, and he wants to know, wait, why am I the only one being like? He kind of really, and then the way he talked to Liana afterwards, like the way he was explaining it to Liana, I was like, I agree with you, Charles. He was ruining his game. He was doing too much talking where he should have just said, look, he should have let Ricard have that one. Look, Ricard wanted Shan out. It is what it is. What can we do to move forward? Like maybe try to
And
get Erica and Heather back on your side.
and the fact that in the very same episode they showed the clip of him telling Liana, like, you're my girl. I would never even write your name down. Like, don't even tell me how to spell it, girl, because I would never vote. Da, da, da. It's the same episode she go home on. It just make him look all types. It just makes him look all types of bad because even if you did or did not vote for her, you did not warn her. You did not try to keep her as your number because at the end of the day, she is a number for you. Her going home does not help your game. It does not. Even if you're still safe, it does not help you that she goes home.
And it was kind of like they didn't even try it. And why not make this the perfect? Like they could have even went to Ricard and said, "Look, they think it's on you, but this is the perfect time to blindside Xander. Like nobody wants to try. Y'all wanted to try to blindside Nasir. You had to get rid of Nasir and his idol. You had to get rid of Shan and her idol. Nobody wants to even try. Like nobody is even saying Xander's name, but Liana. But Liana. So it's kind of like y'all not even playing the game. Like everybody else
But how
idol
can
has to go,
let's
but
talk
not
about
his.
that. How can they get out Xander now? How is that even possible to get Xander out now?
The same way they got rid of everybody else. Come up with a plan, but us certain people know the real because we're gonna make Xander feel so comfortable. We're gonna okay, Xander, you want Liana out? Cool. Liana, she gotta go. But at tribal council, Deshaun, Danny, Liana, and Ricard, you probably could have even got Erica and Heather. We all writing down Xander, and him and his idol gotta go.
Yeah, but I don't see Erica. I don't see Heather. I don't see Ricard voting out Xander. How can now, like, let's say if you're Danny, we want to help Danny out. If Danny's idea is to get Xander out, how can he do that now? It's no, you don't have the numbers to get anybody out now. None.
This is what they're saying. I apologize if I say your name wrong. I think it's Qua. They said that group of four is solid. I don't think flipping on each other, they're going to flip on each other anytime soon.
That's what I
That's
said.
dumb. But that's
They're
dumb.
not.
Erica and Heather really want to go to the Final Four with Danny, with Ricard and Xander. They can't beat in either of them in an immunity challenge or in a resume at the final tribal council. So they need to pivot next week to at least go with Danny and Deshaun and get out Xander and Ricard. You can't let Xander and Ricard make it anywhere close to a Final Four.
I think the black people were screwed as soon as Shan went home. When it was
I
50-50,
agree.
when it was 50-50, they had a fighting chance. But as soon as Shan went home, Liana was next. Deshaun and Danny better watch out.
And they could have easily got rid of Ricard tonight because they said, "Oh, we don't want to go down to 3-3." Erica could have got rid of Ricard, and if they really trusted Xander, Xander has an extra vote. Xander could still be 4-3 with his extra vote next week.
Do you think?
But he
Danny
wastes his
and Deshaun,
extra vote on Liana.
Maybe Danny and Deshaun need to work with Xander to get Ricard out, because I don't see Ricard voting Xander out, but Xander may vote Ricard out.
Ricard is on the chopping block next week. If he wins immunity, Xander's going to play his idol no matter
Deshaun's
what,
going
and
home.
Deshaun goes home.
The black people are going home like this.
They're going home. Once you take a shot at one, if you have a so-called black alliance, once you shoot at one, it's like you said, the domino effect.
Yeah, because those four were not loyal to each other. Deshaun poisoned that four. The four of them were poisoned by Deshaun and sold
because
out
he
by
had to. He didn't like being outshined by Shan. I don't know if it was because she was a woman. I don't know if it was because she just was a great social player. He was jealous. Let's call it what it is. He was jealous that Shan was seen as the mastermind. And instead of getting rid of Shan at any time, because she wasn't winning no immunity challenges, instead of getting rid of her at any time, you take her out, and now it's a snowball. We called this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's get to the conversation at hand, because let's just jump into the meat and potatoes of what we really want to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
You all know me and Charles, when it comes to issues of race, Black Lives Matter, social equalities, we take it serious. Like, we don't joke with that. We don't play around with it. And we will have special videos just to bring awareness to certain issues, just so we could have our voices out there on the subjects at hand. But last night, when Tribal Council turned into a soapbox for, I don't want to sound hateful, because like I said, I take the issue very seriously. It was the messenger. It was last night episode turned into a conversation that in some ways is needed. It's never wrong to have those conversations, but the people having the conversations had my eyes a rolling, just all in the back of my head. Let's start with Deshaun. Number one. Yes. Deshaun started it. Everything out of Deshaun's mouth, valid to the movement or not, valid to how a Black person may feel or not, was a performance to get Shan to see Ricard equally as a snake as him. Deshaun wasn't caring nothing about, oh, as a Black person, it's extra pressure that I have to feel like I can't vote out a Black person because I don't want to be seen as a cultural assassin, but I want a million. Like, all of that, okay, may be true for some Black people, but not for you. Everything he was doing last night was to gather that vote from Shan, because he was pissed that Shan said, you have $1 million, you're a snake. That was Deshaun to me for Angie. That is what Deshaun was doing, and that is what was pissing me off with Deshaun last night. Because I'm like, let's not turn this into a Black Lives Matter soapbox. Because Deshaun, isn't this not what it is?
And I have to second you on that. I agree. And for Charles, Deshaun, we've seen it from episodes and episodes ago, the way he has underhandedly felt about Shan
Right.
not asking for his approval, not including him in final decisions. When it came time to get her out, you were one of the first ones to say her name, and you're in an all Black alliance with her. Call it what it's not, all Black or whatever. You were in alliance with her, your sister. This is the first time I've heard him call her his sister in this moment, which rubbed me all types of wrong way.
Right.
And then he wanted to, in the same breath, same conversation, he reiterated to Ricard in front of Shan. Shan wanted to get me out, right? Trying to validate the fact that, oh, so it's not just me. We're both into it. Shan came after me. I'm the victim. This was performative.
It was very performative.
Look at me. I'm not the snake.
Look at me. I'm not a snake. She did want me out, right? So that's why I came back. Like, I was like, why are we doing this? And I'm looking at Jeff like, why? Because see, Jeff had, and then what pissed me off is Jeff had to ask every Black person how they felt about what Deshaun was saying. I'm like, this ain't what it is. This tribal council, and this ain't got nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. And it was pissing me off. So let's get on Liana next. Liana started her thing off, and everybody, and I just want to say, it seemed like all the white people, no offense, were like, oh, Liana, that speech was amazing. I was moved with tears. I was in my house cursing Liana out. I was like, and I don't like to call people a bitch, but sometimes that's what come out my mouth. I was like, bitch, you were the first Black woman to vote the first Black man off of Survivor. Like, you didn't even try to save Abraham or whatever his name was. You was like, yeah, he could go. Yeah, I'll work with you, Evie, Xander, everybody white. I got your back. Abraham could go. Where was the strong Black woman who was having such a hard time voting out Black people episode 1?
Right. See, I wasn't even, when she was talking, I didn't even think about that. See, I even forgot about Abraham. But the difference for me, not for me, but Liana and Deshaun, the fact that Liana made it clear about the all Black alliance, we didn't come in this game wanting to all work together. I'm glad she brought that up. Because people on Twitter and the YouTubes all feel like, oh, because of the cookout, Black people come on these shows like, oh, we gotta have an all Black thing going on. I'm glad she did mention that. That was the one thing I was like, okay, I appreciate the fact that she has the right of mind to even mention that, because these Twitter streets, the girls be feeling like they just know, they cracked the code.
My eyes were completely rolling at Liana because I was like, and then I was hoping they ain't paying over there to Shan, because like Shan couldn't wait to steal JD's advantage and vote his ass out. So it wasn't no hard to vote out a Black person over there. So then we go to Danny. By the time they get to Danny, I can't tell you nothing that Danny said, because
said, I agree with
right, because I was over it. I was like, give me tribal council. I don't need this moment. And so after Danny was talking, I hear Xander piping up, and they're like, oh, he's an ally. I know if there's ever a march, Xander will be right there. And I'm like,
what?
Let's pipe down, because we really don't know. And even if he is an ally,
we don't know his personal beliefs. And just because in front of a camera, you can't, just throwing out the word ally is like throwing out the word love and friends. Like, you have to be careful with who you categorize as an ally. We don't know what he's done for anybody Black in this universe, or if he's even thought about these topics before today.
And even if he is an ally, I don't care if he is. I hope that he is, and I hope that he understands. But this is tribal council. Like, this whole tribal council had nothing to do with are we voting out Ricard or Liana? It was all about how Black people make it through this game. And I'm looking back season over season. I'm like, this season, it was 6 of you all. We've never
Mm-hmm.
had a season of Survivor ever with 6 African American people and another equal amount of people of color. This is one of the most diverse seasons of Survivor ever. So all the Black people who have won in the past have done it without a 4, without even a final 2. So what are you all talking about? You needed the 4, you needed this. You all need to play Survivor.
Right.
Now I understand when you get out on islands like this, you do go for people who you have something in common with. And sometimes you see 4 Black people, you're like, hey, what's up? Let's work. I can understand that. But I'm the type of girl, if I'm playing for $1 million, I don't care what color your skin is. I'm doing what I have to do for Angie to win $1 million. And I'm never going to judge anybody on TV for voting out a person of their same race when it is a game show. Like if
Right.
Deshaun would have said, yeah, I had to vote out Shan because I wanted to win. I couldn't beat her. Respect. Respect. But you going down this rabbit hole over here, it's like, no, sir. Just say
Yeah.
you wanted to be in charge and she had to go.
I feel like there was so many things wrong with it. First of all, the initial messenger of Deshaun was wrong. Jeff's mediating of the conversation was wrong. The fact that it went on for like 25 minutes
Too long.
was wrong. Placement of this conversation is wrong. It's okay to have the damn, this game is hard for Black people because we're so outnumbered. We can have that conversation, but let that be in like individual confessionals where people are like, where America is bonding with the person. Because when you're doing tribal council is about game.
About the vote.
Tribal council is about who is going home tonight. We do not
Mm-hmm.
want to sit there and stuff like this. I feel like for the conservative Republican side of the world that watches the show, I feel like it would like set their skin on fire because it's like, okay, it's like going on too long. Like people are changing our all American go to this race, and it's not even Black people. It's not our intention for that. They shouldn't have put this on the show this long. I think it was done wrong. Period.
You think maybe because it is CBS and CBS just did finish with the cookout. Do you think they're editing and asking these questions to piggyback off of the cookout when that 4 was never a cookout? It was never going to be a cookout. Do you think that's what they're trying to edit it
if
to
we want to
do?
get into some true tea in the history of CBS and Les Moonves and how he's like blackballed and blacklisted Black people in Hollywood, including Janet Jackson, all the way back to the Super Bowl. If y'all haven't watched that documentary on Hulu, CBS and Les Moonves' name is all throughout it. So CBS has a long history of treating Black people wrong. And now that he is in trouble and stuff is coming to the light, it's oddly parallel to CBS trying to change its branding with now being like super accepting into Black people because they've not always been that way.
Because if you think back a week ago and you made that point where if you're having the conversation in a confessional, that's one thing. Where we had those confessionals of Shan and Ricard talking about Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, this really don't have anything to do with it. Why are we putting this into the game? And then right after we have all Jeff go ABCD down the Black people.
Everybody. He made everybody.
Now Heather is tearing up. Oh, I want to apologize. I didn't know that you all felt this way. I'm like, bitch, pipe down. This has nothing to do with you. Stay out of the conversation. We don't need your apologies. We don't need you feeling guilty because you have a privilege. Can we just play the game?
Ooh, girl, breaking news. You just talked about this yesterday. Drag Race just announced that they are going to season 4 premieres on Friday, January 7th at 8
I knew
o'clock.
it was gonna be after in January. I gotta watch Meet the Queens tonight.
But yeah, you just mentioned that yesterday that Drag Race has something coming up.
Hmm.
They got
But
two plus size black queens. Mm.
I hope they shut up. This ain't got nothing to do with Drag Race. I ain't gonna be shady over here.
I'm just saying breaking news because me and Angie talked about this yesterday. So I'm sorry, y'all.
I ain't gonna say nothing about Drag Race over here. Okay, so then right after we have all of the Black Lives Matter speeches and everyone's apologizing and everyone's an ally, and I believe someone even mentioned it in the comments, they let everyone talk besides Ricard and Erica. Like, how do they feel about being the only two people? I don't know what Erica's nationality is, but I want to say Hispanic. But how do they feel about being two people of their race? And can they not vote
Yeah.
each other out? I'm like, can we not go down this rabbit hole?
Right. First of all, they
And
should.
then,
Jeff shouldn't have went around asking everybody how they felt about it. Because to be honest, if he would have asked me in that moment, I would have been like, I don't feel no type of way about it. I'm ready to vote. America
right.
would have gagged. They would have been mad at me because they would have been like, "Oh my God, he doesn't feel the type of way about being black
Well,
on Survivor."
you would probably feel on the spot to say something where if Jeff would have let the conversation end naturally, because Deshaun was on some bullshit. Let's just call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have let Deshaun quit performing to Shan naturally, we could have moved on into more questions about the vote.
Right.
And then we do all of this talking about how hard it is for the black people just to vote out the black people. Liana goes home, which to me is a waste of a vote.
Or been like, I don't know how. I don't have no opinion on how Deshaun feels. I'm black. I know how it feels to be black. I'm just ready to vote. Can we end this
Or I'm
conversation?
ready to get into this tribal council to try to persuade the vote off for me. Like, this is the opportunity to try to maybe persuade people how dangerous Ricard is still in the game.
But Deshaun felt
And
like he was in trouble. Deshaun saw his game crumbling,
Deshaun
so
was
he
not
put
in
on a show.
trouble. Deshaun was safe. He did all of this after he picked his box.
No, the box
So
came after. The
it
box
came
came after.
after.
Mm-hmm.
Well, either way, you was either gonna be safe or you was going home without a vote anyway. So it's
Right.
no point. You could perform for Shan if you in the final three.
But that's why it was not only for Shan, because the fact that he did this before the picking of the box, and the fact that production made sure they had this conversation before the picking of the box, is because if he did go home, he got his chance to have
He
his
got that
moment.
off of his chest.
Yes, mind you, Survivor contestants already have revealed that before they go to tribal, production asks them who they're voting for. So production already knows who they're going to vote for before Jeff even asks them questions. That's why Jeff knows who to ask questions to, because he already knows who you're going to vote for.
I don't care nothing about it. It just it just it made a moment of the game to where you all could have been fighting to try to plead with Erica, plead with Heather to vote with you to get Ricard out. But it seemed like instead of working on who to vote out, we're going to work on how hard it was to vote out Shan. Shan went home last week. Can we get
Right.
to the issue at hand? Like,
And
Shan
it
is
made
already
it
at home.
uncomfortably. It was not natural. It was not a natural conversation. So it turned a serious topic into a guest, a house guest that's been staying at your house a little bit too long.
Eric says Shan was looking at Ricard and Deshaun and them crazy the whole tribal. Do
She
you
was.
think,
She was mad.
yeah, because they talking about her and she's not there. It's time to continue to play the game. It's who what we gonna do this week? She's out of the game.
I think she
And
was
it's
more
like you're
mad because she couldn't respond. because they
I
can't
would
talk back.
love, I would love to hear a jury member say, "That's bullshit." That would, you
That's why
think
her
they would
face was
edit
making
that
so she
out?
was making them faces because she couldn't
She was
talk
just like,
back.
"Do you think so?" We're thinking that whatever Deshaun was trying to do for Shan's vote, he ain't getting it, regardless.
I don't see him going to the final anymore. I used to think he was gonna win. Mm-mm.
I don't think Deshaun. I don't think he'll go to the final either. I think
Deshaun has one ally. That's it.
now let's put this just a hypothetical because we like to talk strategy and hypotheticals. Let's say next week Xander wins immunity. Do you
Yikes.
think Xander lets go of Ricard next week, or
Hell
does he
no.
save Ricard with his idol?
He don't need to use no idol. They have the numbers. Those four people can get rid of the other two with literally with sleep in their eyes because it does not matter. When you come to the numbers, it does not matter anymore. This is a
I
game
just
of
don't see
numbers.
those
It's not
four
even a
sticking
game of
together.
like. It's not even a game of like social or even liking people. It's a game of numbers. Clearly, Deshaun did not value Shan and Liana's number, so he got rid of his people, so he wants to be the last Negro standing. I guess I don't know what he's going on.
Yeah, all the black people will be on the jury deciding which person of color or white person will win this season.
Yes, there will not be a black winner of Survivor 41.
I don't think they'll even make it to the jury because clearly Danny or Deshaun is going home next week, and I don't know how good their fire making is. I just don't see, but I also don't
What you
see
mean they won't
it
make it
being.
to the jury? Everybody left is going to be on jury.
No, I'm saying I mean they don't make it to the final. I don't
Oh,
see the benefit of Heather and Erica going to the final four with Xander and Ricard. That's like giving Xander or Ricard the money. Heather or Erica kind of need to flip back to the blue tribe and go blue
well,
strong.
maybe they're waiting for just one of them to be left because they can do that. Heather and Erica can wait for it just to be Danny by himself, and then it'll be them three versus Ricard
Those
and
two, yeah,
Xander.
at final. So they got to get rid of Danny or Deshaun next week. Then they'll flip back and work with Danny or Deshaun at the final five. But see, that could bite them in the foot. They need to flip back next week. I'll tell you why. Because if you get to the final five, that's Xander's last time to play his idol. So at five, Xander is safe. And if Ricard wins immunity, what you gonna do?
Wait, what?
If they vote out, say next week they vote out Danny or Deshaun, one of the two, and it's the final five.
Mm-hmm.
If the final five is the last time for Xander to play his idol, so Xander's safe at five regardless. And so then if Ricard wins individual immunity, they still have to vote out the other black person that's left.
Well, I don't think he's going to be safe regardless because I feel like every week they're going to be doing this do or die thing every week.
No, they can't. No.
And
Mm-mm.
what if he's one of the do or diers and he go home?
That would be unfortunate to get to the final six, final five, and you still got to do or die. Like that was cute for the seven. That was some little cute for seven, but you can't do that every week.
So they just brought it for one episode? You think so? This has to be
I
the most
really,
twist ever in one season. I have never seen
it's
this
too
many
many
fucking
twists.
twists.
And they aren't panning out the way they thought because nobody has played an extra vote correctly. Nobody has stolen a vote. Like these people have walked up and down a mountain week after week, and all the advantages have been fails.
Nobody has used the idol.
Nobody has used the idol. We have talked about butterflies, billy goats, and broccoli for no reason because nobody has used the idol.
Yeah.
Miguel says those four will not stick together because they don't want to keep Ricard around. So Ricard could go next week. He could.
He could win immunity next week.
Yeah. I don't think Xander would go home. If Xander was going to go home with the idol in his pocket, it should have been last week. They should have voted out Xander instead of Shan. But I'm telling you, they're going to go home and they're going to watch the season and realize Shan is the vote where we messed up. We should have kept Shan an extra week.
This looked like... Okay. She looked like Snooki.
What?
Not Snooki.
See, you're looking at Drag Race.
Nutmeg Ganache.
I like Silk. Oh, that's cute. Now, Charles, you ruined it. That is Silky, ain't it?
No. No, it's one of the new queens. I like the outfit, girl. It's booming. It's edited.
I like
this
the
photo
outfit
is
too.
highly edited photo, but I thought it was Silky.
I'm gonna have to do that review this
Her
weekend.
name is Cornbread. Cornbread the snack. Just say.
I don't like that. Why the big girls gotta be named after food?
Food, right? Bitch, fish fillet.
Be big and sexy. You ain't gotta be big and just eat all day. Just be big and sexy.
Right.
I don't know, but that's all I have for Survivor this week. Did you watch the challenge last night?
I didn't watch the challenge last night. I packed all them damn orders and shipped them. Today was my rest day. I just laid around. Yeah.
Well,
I need to be making more inventory. I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
So did y'all enjoy Survivor? What were y'all thoughts? What were your knee-jerk reactions when you saw Deshaun break into a there was no tears involved speech?
I didn't put all the comments up because we were talking, but a lot of people said Deshaun and Danny a mess. A lot of people were rolling their eyes. Oh, Eric said he was having a poor man's Tyler Perry moment. That is shade and facts. Kwai said when Heather was talking, they rolled their eyes, and I was too.
Heather said I ain't know black people suffer.
I apologize. I didn't know you all felt like this. I didn't know you all had to deal with this.
Discrimination? Really?
A mess. That's not it.
You know how old you are.
Somebody was on
there.
Twitter.
She was probably alive during the march on what's it called? Tulsa? March where Martin Luther King was there. She was alive back then. So let's not play.
But she didn't know what's still going on today. You still being discriminated against today. You still got to worry about this in 2021. See, she didn't see what was going on during the pandemic. But I'm not about to go there with Heather because I don't know who this lady is, and I don't want to say anything sideways about her. But this was a conversation that just did not need to be had at that moment. I don't think it's led to, because somebody said it on Twitter, like, look at all the white guilt. Because I promise you, if you look up and down Twitter, the only people who were like, oh, Liana, that was such a powerful speech. I feel you. It was no black people saying it. None. On my Twitter. Now, I don't know about your Twitter, but on my Twitter, I didn't see nan black person here for it. It was just like, oh, this is such a powerful moment. I'm so happy they're doing. I'm like, oh boy just had this moment a few seasons ago when he had to check oh boy about his do-rag, or when he called something a do-rag. Like he said something.
That was season 39.
Yeah, we've had these conversations on Survivor. So let's not act like this is the first time Jeff has done this. That was a natural conversation.
Yeah.
This was let's make Ricard equally a snake in Shan's eyes, so Shan might vote for me instead of him. Instead of just voting his ass out, so it don't matter what Shan think. He's sitting on the jury with her ass. Instead of worrying about that, we want to play to Shan and show her, he a snake too, not just me. But you could have just voted his ass out.
Yeah, I don't follow many people on social media that watch Survivor, but I do follow Wendell, the winner of Survivor, and he was like sobbing. He said, "Oh, I'm in my hotel room sobbing," like, and I'm like, "What?
Was
Sobbing
he
for what?"
sobbing when he voted that black girl out over his white best friend? Was he sobbing then?
I'm like, sobbing
So
for
what is he
what
crying
reason?
for?
I
Like,
don't
Wendell,
get
don't
it.
play with me. Don't play with me.
Yeah, he was saying he was like sobbing, and I'm like, in my mind, like, it's
He
not
wasn't
that
crying on
deep,
his season.
but it was obviously prepared because we went to tribal council 25 minutes into the episode, so the production knew what they was about to do. Tribal usually happens later on, like out like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. It was 20, 25 minutes into the show. We was already in tribal. Like, oh, y'all about to put on a show.
Oh yeah. Someone said Shan had bad vibes on Heather during her interviews. I haven't seen any of Shan interviews, and I do want to see them. So does Nasir and Tiffany. So I want to know, what did Heather do? Well, Nasir
Oh,
didn't
okay.
like Heather because Heather wanted Nasir out. Tiffany ain't like no damn body, so I bet you Tiffany don't like anybody. I would like to know what bad vibes Shan had with Heather,
Did
but
you watch that Ponderosa clip I sent you?
I ain't watched it yet.
Um,
I know you say when I send you something, watch it.
right. It was Evie and Nasir arriving to Ponderosa, after they're eliminated and stuff.
Hmm.
And then they got to eat and talk about the game, and they met up with Tiffany and all that.
Well, because I got to do the challenge in 2 minutes. So I just want to ask you this really quick. I follow the Twitter streets and the YouTube streets of the gossip. Why is the gossip in the streets that Xander has a crush on Liana, and they might have been crushing on each other on the island, and all that I hate him was an act?
Mm, good for them.
I don't
Because
see
it,
it, but
me either, because it seemed to me, it felt like Xander didn't like her. Xander's the one that excluded her from talking about his advantages and all that when he could have with when he did with Evie
if
and
you have a
Tiffany.
crush on somebody,
Right. So I don't know
and
about all that.
Liana hated Xander. Remember, she was like, I can't stand the way he looks. I hate the way he smells. Like, yeah, they said there's a secret scene. Like, it's some kind of secret scene. I don't deep dive enough for the secret scenes. People have to send it to me for me to see it, because I haven't seen a secret scene of Liana and Xander
And maybe they do have
like
a
crushing
crush,
on
like,
each other.
oh, he's walking around without a shirt on. I ain't had none in a while, and he's cute. Ooh. But that I don't know if that means they're gonna be hooking up outside of the game.
Well, we shall see at the reunion in a few weeks, because we could pick up on body language and who she votes for.
I don't really care. At this point, this season is not going the way I want it.
Hmm. I don't know about a fling.
I don't know
I
about
can't
that
imagine them
either.
having a fling, because he never like he told everybody but Liana.
I don't believe that. Production would put that on TV.
Definitely. Definitely. But
Especially a white and black couple, they would definitely be like, look, guys, America is changed. There's no more racism. Post
I'm
racism
not going there
era.
with you. But they would have shown it. They would have. Because they would have shown it just to make Liana look even more dumb for what she did at the tribal council, where she wasted her advantage.
They would have did it to
But
just build up Xander's resume for with America. They want Xander to be this player, this great player of the game, this They want
I'm
him
not
to
gonna
be.
call him a bad player.
They want
I
him to
think
be
Xander
like
is a good
the.
player.
Mm, okay.
I think he's a good player, and he just found himself in a fortunate situation with the Yellow Tribe at the merge, but he's the last one standing without having to use an idol. Like he's the last one standing with just the threats of an idol, something that Nasir and Shan have never been able to pull off.
But mind you, you're talking about Shan, probably one of the worst players.
I'm not gonna put
using
that on
Shan
Shan.
using Shan as an example to say Xander is good is not a good example for me because I've told y'all from episode 1, Shan is not smart. Shan is not good.
Well, who?
Shan is not a great player. Shan made bad decisions every episode, but because she's pretty, she has a bubbly smile and personality, and she comes off well on camera, the girls love her. I get it. But a player, she is not.
I like Shan. I think Shan is a good player. I think okay, let's ask the question so we can wrap this up in a bow because I
Shan is
have
not a
to
good player.
I have to do the challenge. I'm supposed to be doing the challenge right now, so I gotta wrap this up. As of right now, final what are we at? 6? Final 6.
Mm-hmm.
Who's playing the best game for you right now at final 6? You all can answer in the chat as well. Who's playing the best game right now at final 6?
Erica. Erica could be the silent winner of this season. I could see Erica winning this season. Erica is not seen as a threat, mind you. Even Xander, who has faded back into like a khaki wall paint, he is a bigger threat than Erica. But Erica has the ability to, if she has the right of mind within the next 2 weeks to work with Deshaun or Danny to get the other ones out, Erica could be in the perfect spot because if Erica's in the final with Danny and Tiffany, what's that girl name? Heather. If it's
Heather.
Dan,
Heather's gonna
Dan
be in the final.
if it's Erica, Heather, and Danny, Erica is winning this
Erica
game.
wins. I agree. I have two choices.
Thank you,
At
Miguel.
final
Erica is
six,
the correct answer.
at final 6, Erica is in the strongest spot if she can pivot to get out Xander or Ricard. If Erica goes to the final 4 with Xander or Ricard, Erica might as well give one of those two the money. But
I agree.
if Erica does not pivot, Xander is in the best position at the 6 to win the game.
I agree. I think the
So
second
I'll
best
say
position
Erica
is
and
Xander.
Xander.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Erica first, then Xander, because if
Now,
Erica is sitting in
Quana
the
said,
final with
imagine
Xander,
Heather winning. I can't imagine it.
no possible way, sweetie.
Not in any fairy tale. Like the jury would have to be hella bitter. Like hella everybody on there bitter for Heather to win. I don't see it.
For Heather to win, she would have to be sitting there with 2 black people, and the
No.
and the jury would
No.
not only have to be bitter, they would have to be racist, and they would have to be like, well, she did
And
do
they
some
are not.
things.
And the jury is not. I'm not going to put that on the jury. I just don't see any possible way Heather can win.
No, I don't see Heather getting any votes over anybody. No.
They might as well, if Heather's in the final 3, they might as well sit her ass up on the jury and say, you might as well
But
vote too.
but that's the thing. Heather is an automatic person for the final. She's going to be in the final 3. Heather, without a doubt. So
Miguel says Erica beat Xander. In what world? If Erica, Xander, and Heather are in the final 3, Xander wins.
yeah, if Xander is in the final with anybody, he's going to win. If okay, so let's do this. Power ranking, because we know power rankings. The 6 people that are left, The power ranking means if anybody closer to the top is in the final, they are going to win. Number one is Xander. If he's
Xander.
there over anybody, he wins. Second is Ricard. If he's
Ricard.
there and Xander's not, he's going to win. Third would be, for me, Deshaun. Deshaun, if he's there with anybody below, without Xander and Ricard, he's winning. Then Erica, then Danny, and then Heather, which is in the bottom, the last place.
I'm with you, but I'm switching Erica and Deshaun. If Erica is sitting at the end with Heather and Deshaun, Erica wins.
I don't think so.
Because if Erica's sitting at the end with Deshaun and Heather, that means Erica strategically pivoted to get out Xander and Ricard.
Yeah,
so
you could say that, yeah.
Erica comes before Deshaun.
Yeah, but you have to remember there are people that are bitter towards Deshaun. Well, wait, so that works for your argument, yeah.
And then they say, I think Xander would get a better jury. I don't think so.
I don't think
Half
so.
of his yellow friends are on the jury. He already has 2 locked in votes for sure. Oh, they said something about the interviews. Miguel, you know I ain't read them, so I'm happy you told me. If you read these interviews, Tiff, Shannon, and Liana don't respect Xander's game at all. I don't see Xander getting the votes needed to win.
Tiff, Shannon, and Liana.
No, Tiffany's voting for Xander. I don't know, but Tiffany is the bitterness of the bitter of a jury. I think Tiffany's vote is going to be hateration regardless. Shan, I would hope she's open enough to respect the gameplay. And I think you might be mad at Xander right now, but when you get to that final tribal and you hear people explain their game, I think Xander can pull all of those people in. So I don't know. But that's what makes this season good, because I feel like it's so many possibilities for a lot of different people to win. It's not just one clear winner this season. But Charles, you know how much I love doing these videos with you, but I do have to go because I do have to jump over into the challenge and get that out of the way. And I went to the gym tonight. I didn't even shower yet. I came straight from my trainer to the live. So I want to get the challenge out the way so I can refresh. You know how that is.
Okay.
So and I'm going to use Charles Warren Presents.com's body wash. It is amazing after a workout. Amazing. So I'm definitely about to do that once I get finished with the challenge. So if you are a challenge fan, jump right back over. I'm about to go live in 1 minute. So please do that. Like this video. Please support my friend Charles Warren on his Instagram, TikTok, and definitely his products, Charles Warren Presents. They sell out fast, so you better hurry up and go look. You might have to wait for the restock.
Yeah.
Anyway, still go look. So when the restock is announced, you'll be ready with your Afterpay, because he got Afterpay too. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next Thursday night to see who goes home at this final 6. It'll be great. See you later.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Bye.